Biofuels are cool. My personal favorite would have to be biodiesel. The idea of taking vegetable oil and turning it into a diesel fuel is amazingly green. However, there is a waste generated through biodiesel production, and that waste is glycerol. Now, in its pure form, glycerol is quite useful. However, this waste glycerol contains a number of impurities that make it far less useful and too expensive to purify, so it needs to be disposed of. So what can we do with it? Well, glycerol is a carbon molecule, and all living things need carbon. So my research uses this waste glycerol to grow yeast. There are some species of yeast that can not only consume the glycerol despite the impurities, but they naturally turn it into a large amount of fats called lipids, and that's important later. This process involves growing the yeast in a medium that contains a small amount of nutrients and an excessive amount of glycerol. To compare it to a meal, it would be like having a tiny side salad and an all-you-can-eat dessert buffet. At the beginning, the cells use both the nutrients and a bit of the glycerol to reproduce, and they make a large number of cells. Once those nutrients are gone, though, the cells are left eating just the glycerol. And the same thing happens to them as would happen to you or I if we lived off of dessert. They get fat. They build up huge stores of lipids. And this is the fun part. Those lipids can be extracted and turned back into biodiesel using the same process that you used on vegetable oils. Now, when I started my master's, I compared a number of species of yeast to carry out this process, and I identified a top producer. So using this single species, I then scaled the process up. I made it bigger. Each step of the way, I had to consider things like getting enough oxygen to the cells, proper mixing, and the right nutrients. I started with just 5 milliliters in a test tube, then moved up to flasks, then a small bioreactor, and recently to a 100-liter reactor, which in a single run eliminated over 5 kilograms of waste glycerol and turned it into 7 liters of biodiesel. And the process can still be made bigger. And if you were to carry it out right at a biodiesel refinery, well, now it's like your backyard composting. You're using the tools you have readily at hand to turn your waste product back into your desirable, valuable product. When you do that, you would be reducing your materials cost as well as eliminating a portion of your waste disposal cost. The overall result would be cheaper, greener biodiesel. Thank you very much.